Here's the thing. When people talk about AI's environmental cost, they almost always talk about electricity, power grids, carbon emissions, nuclear plants, solar farms, and yes, that matters. But there's another resource AI depends on, and it's one we're already struggling to manage: water. I'm Dennis Lisak, and this is Tomorrow Explained. On this channel, I break down the systems we assume will always work until they don't. Now, you might be thinking, wait, AI is software. It lives in the cloud. How does water even factor in? Good question. Because the cloud isn't floating in the sky, it's physical. It's buildings, massive warehouses filled with servers running 24 hours a day. And those machines produce heat, a lot of heat. If you've ever felt your laptop warm up while editing a video, multiply that by tens of thousands of machines stacked floor to ceiling. That heat has to go somewhere, and this is where water enters the picture. Most hyperscale data centers use water-based cooling systems, cooling towers, evaporative systems, liquid cooling loops. Water absorbs heat. Some of it evaporates. Some of it leaves the system permanently. It's not symbolic water use, it's consumptive. Now let's zoom out. 5 years ago, the world had roughly 450 to 500 hyperscale data centers. Today, that number is closer to 900 and growing rapidly. And that's just hyperscale facilities. Total data centers globally exceed 8,000. Now here's the important shift. 5 years ago, AI workloads were a fraction of overall compute demand. Today, AI is one of the fastest growing segments of global data center expansion. Some projections estimate that global data center electricity demand could more than double by 2030. And AI is expected to be a primary driver of that growth. But remember, electricity isn't the only input. Cooling scales with compute, which means water scales with compute. In 2023, Microsoft reported its global water consumption increased by approximately 1.7 billion gallons in a single year, a 34% jump. That's enough to fill roughly 2,500 Olympic swimming pools. Google reported similar increases tied to data center expansion. Researchers have estimated that generating one AI text responses can consume roughly half a liter of water, depending on the data center location and cooling system used. Training a large AI model can consume millions of gallons during development, and that's before deployment at global scale. Now imagine AI adoption doubles, then doubles again. The demand curve looks exponential. Water replenishment is linear at best, and that's the tension, but here's where it gets even more layered. Cooling isn't the only water connection. Electricity generation itself often requires water. Thermoelectric plants, including nuclear and fossil fuel facilities, use water to cool turbines. In the United States, power generation accounts for roughly 40% of freshwater withdrawals. So when AI drives electricity demand higher, it indirectly drives water withdrawals higher, too. Then there's semiconductor manufacturing. Advanced chip fabrication plants use ultra-pure water in enormous quantities. Some facilities consume millions of gallons per day. AI accelerators, GPUs, are among the most water-intensive components manufactured today. So we're not just talking about water cooling servers. We're talking about water to manufacture chips, water to generate electricity, water to cool infrastructure. This is a layered system. Now zoom out again. Because AI isn't competing for water in a vacuum. Agriculture consumes about 70% of global freshwater withdrawals. Fashion manufacturing, especially cotton production, consumes thousands of gallons per garment. If you've watched my other videos on water scarcity, you know a single pair of jeans can require over 2,000 gallons of water to produce. A pound of beef can require 1,800 gallons. Entire cities are already rationing. Aquifers in parts of India, California, and the Middle East are being depleted faster than they recharge. The Colorado River is overallocated. Groundwater levels in some basins have dropped hundreds of feet over decades. So when we introduce a rapidly expanding digital infrastructure that depends on water, we're not introducing a new problem. We're intensifying an existing one. And here's the part that really matters. Water is local. You can move electricity across borders. You can transmit data globally in milliseconds. You cannot easily move water between river basins. When a region runs dry, it doesn't matter how advanced its servers are. The constraint is physical. And once groundwater collapses, Once those underground spaces compress, they don't recover. That storage is gone permanently. Now look forward 5 to 10 years. If hyperscale data centers continue doubling, if AI becomes embedded into search, healthcare, logistics, entertainment, finance, autonomous systems, if global AI compute demand multiplies by 5 or 10, then cooling demand multiplies too, unless we radically change infrastructure design, unless cooling shifts fully to non-evaporative systems, unless facilities relocate exclusively to water-abundant regions. But even that creates geographic trade-offs, because water-rich regions still face competing demands: food, housing, industry, energy. This is what makes this so interesting. We've built a technology that feels infinite, but it runs on something finite. We built exponential demand on top of linear supply, and linear supply eventually constrains exponential growth. That doesn't mean AI stops. It means trade-offs begin, and trade-offs are political, economic, local, quiet. History shows us that technologies rarely collapse because of their headline risk. They stall because of hidden constraints. Coal cities choked on pollution, oil economies destabilized on price shocks. Water may be the quiet constraint shaping AI's trajectory, not because it's dramatic, but because it's physical. AI doesn't care about water, but infrastructure does, and infrastructure is where reality lives. If you want to understand the systems shaping our future, the ones operating beneath the headlines, subscribe to Tomorrow Explained. I'm Dennis Lisak. Thanks for watching.